Hey everybody, it's Cheryl Lawson here with the 6th episode of Social Media Tulsa Today. Yeah, it's been a little time between number 5 and number 6, but so much has happened that I had to get online and talk about all of the stuff that's happened here over the last few months. So here goes. So first thing first, Social Media Tulsa is now its own entity. So for a long time, I'll scroll this up a little bit and you won't be able to see it. Anyway, so for the longest time, everybody's seen the banners that say Party Aficionado and Social Media Tulsa. So what that means is Party Aficionado LLC is the company that I started when I moved back to Tulsa a few years ago as my consulting, event, and social marketing firm. And then I started Social Media Tulsa as a way to connect with some of the smart people and people who are engaged in social media here in Tulsa and around the region. And it has grown, as many of you have experienced, into much more than a community, but still holding on to the community roots, which I absolutely love. But we have been asked in many cases to actually do social media for companies. In addition to the conference that we do every year, we get asked to do social media for events. Well, so it makes sense, right? Party Aficionado was my event planning company, and people are now asking for Social Media Tulsa to manage social media for events. And so it was really just a natural flow of an evolution of my business and hopefully the business, the growing of the community as it relates to doing social media for events here in Tulsa. So I filed for a series LLC, which means Party Aficionado is still the parent company, if you will, and Social Media Tulsa is a series under the umbrella. Now, Oklahoma is one of the states that allows series LLC. So those of you entrepreneurs out there who have a gazillion ideas like I do, and then something pops off or something really kind of migrates into deserving its own entity, instead of having to file for a completely separate corporation, you can do in Oklahoma what's called a series LLC, and it basically is the same thing. So you file the papers as an amendment to your existing operating agreement, and you get a separate bank account, you can get an employee an EIN number, and so for tax purposes, and you are protected under the same limited liability laws and rules as any other limited liability corporation. So I'm really excited that Social Media Tulsa has become an entity that requires that some separate management, separate rules, and separate financial setup. So thank you all for making that happen. So here's just a few of the projects that we as Social Media Tulsa have worked on, and me with some of the team of Social Media Tulsa. So the first thing, of course, is we did social media for the Center of the Universe Festival, and it's one of my absolute favorite events of the year, and I absolutely love doing social media for the team at Tulsanity. Center of the Universe is a nonprofit festival, which is good for Tulsa, and so every year we've been able to bring on a social media volunteer team to help with social media throughout the 2-day festival. So it went really well this year, and each year we get better, and the teams are getting stronger. This weekend, as a matter of fact, we'll actually have a Social Media Tulsa team out covering SCOTFEST. So, if you've turned on the news or opened a newspaper or looked at Twitter this weekend or Facebook, you'll know that this is a huge weekend for festivals here in Tulsa. And I'm really excited to have been brought on to do social media for SCOTFEST. And I think it'll be a fun event. I know it's going to be a fun event. Hello, there's Highland games, there's dancing, there's music. Scott Rock is pretty awesome, pretty badass music with the bagpipes and electric guitars, and I mean, amazing stuff. So dancing, bagpipes, food. I mean, hello. You're going to get all of that. Plus the Highland Games, the women will be competing in their national championship is the Tulsa event, and then the men will be competing in the Highland Games. And then, as if that wasn't enough, there's a rugby game that'll pop off on Saturday afternoon. So whiskey tastings. There's a sports tent, so you can go there and watch all the games, and you don't have to miss out on all the SCOTFEST fun. So I'm really excited that we'll have a team of people out covering that. I've been managing the social media for the festival for about a month now, and then the team will be active on site during the festival while I'm out on vacation celebrating my birthday. So yay, happy birthday to me, and yay team. So SCOTFEST is new for us and fun. So hopefully we'll be able to do that for years and years to come, and really enjoy more great events in Tulsa. So if you're part of the meetup group, there's an opportunity for you to join us on Friday night, as we are one of the corporate sponsors for SCOTFEST, and we get all the tickets and all the good stuff. So there may be a few tickets left. So head over to meetup.com and search for Social Media Tulsa. We're also, Social Media Tulsa is sponsoring a lot of things. So I went to an event a few weeks ago, actually it's about a month ago, and learned a little bit about the 36 Degrees North base camp for entrepreneurs. And, you know, I absolutely admire Tulsa and the city for kind of encouraging young entrepreneurs. I think, you know, those of us who are young at heart may take a little offense at all the youngness, but I think it's really good for the city to have young professionals and young people who are interested in, you know, business as a whole, and especially Tulsa is a place to have their businesses and their startups. So I reached out to the 36 Degree North folks and asked them if there was something that Social Media Tulsa could do as far as maybe holding workshops for the young entrepreneurs and people who are headquartered there. And so we are now a sponsor of 36 Degree North, and hopefully when they get open and running, we'll be able to provide content on site for the young entrepreneurs. So, you know, one of the things that bothers me a lot about startups is that they don't think enough about marketing, right? About whether it's social or not. They don't necessarily think enough about how to market their business. I mean, and even from the standpoint of, you know, is your name available on Twitter? Or, you know, the domain name people spend a lot of time on, but, you know, can you get your Twitter name? Does somebody else have your Instagram handle that you're looking for? Is there another company similar that has already, you know, gotten the Facebook URL? Have you used the Facebook URL as your personal profile link instead of your business page? So there are a lot of things to consider, even just as getting started with your company and with your company name. So I hope that Social Media Tulsa and our community can help the young entrepreneurs and startups with 36 Degrees North with the social and digital aspects of their business. And, you know, from the basics to, you know, analytics and all of those good things that we all now have available to us in the social space. So that's another thing that we're excited to be doing here in the future. So I just came from doing a quick video interview out at ORU, and I'll be one of the speakers. And I see, looking at their speaker page, there are a couple more Social Media Tulsa speakers. Jared's going to be there, and Eric T. Tong, and So it's really great to see different events through Tulsa focusing on digital marketing. I know they're going to be talking more from a technical, I think, aspect for entrepreneurs and business owners. But I'll be there as a speaker, you know, waving the "Let's be social" and social media flag. So, I mean, I know that analytics are important, but you know, I'm the let's talk to people and gather your community kind of person. So hopefully all of that will float well with the Tulsa Talks people. But anyway, that event is in October 29th. On October 29th, it's a one-day conference, and I'm very happy to be a speaker there. I think I'm on a panel talking about social and digital. So for those of you who know how I am on panels, I'm not really the quiet one, but hopefully it'll be a good discussion and a good day of workshops and learning for the community. So so let's talk about Social Media Tulsa Conference. So that is another thing. So we have the dates for the 2016 SMTULSA Conference. They are March 31st through April 1st. It's a Thursday, Friday again. Doing it a little bit later in the month to accommodate some schedules and spring break. You know, we usually run into spring break issues, but you know, one of my timing goals when I first started planning for the conference was to be after South by Southwest and to try to, you know, get some speakers who were going to be at South by Southwest and encourage them to take the short trip to Tulsa to speak at our conference. But what I found was some of the speakers, while some of the speakers were available, most of the potential sponsors were there for the entire week and not just for interactive as some of the speakers were. So in order to get more sponsors, we have to kind of push the date back to give them enough room on their calendar to get to Tulsa once they've been in Austin for a week or two. So hopefully that will encourage more participation from, you know, digital marketing, you know, some of the interactive companies that are going to South by Southwest, and let them, you know, come to Tulsa and showcase what they're doing to another mid-southwestern market. So I think Social Media Tulsa Conference has you know, really grown in popularity. Maybe not as much inside Tulsa as it has outside of Tulsa. You'd be surprised at how many people are submitting to come to Tulsa to speak from other places. So thank you all to the bloggers and my friends from all over the world who have supported it and paid attention to the real quality of speakers that we have and the community that is within it. So thank you for making us really popular around the globe. And so now we just need you. So if you're close to Tulsa or in Tulsa, go ahead and make your arrangements, put it on your calendar. I'll give you a little secret for registering here in a little bit so that you can save even more money. So right now, early registration is open, and it's $300 for early bird registration. And that's for both days of the conference, and we serve food both days. So you'll get to come and have lunch on us. We'll have something for breakfast. If nothing else, we'll have coffee. And we usually have really great lunches, so that will happen again. And Thursday night we'll have a reception, and there'll be some hors d'oeuvres there, and then drinks at the bar. And then Friday night, our own Tulsa food guy usually sponsors something exciting. So I can't wait to see what he has in store. Last year, in March, remember we all went to Fat Phillies and off Cherry Street, and it was phenomenal. And I have a couple of pounds to account for it that I've thankfully lost over the past few weeks. But Fat Phillies was really great. And you know, one of the things that I loved is that they let us take over their Instagram account while we were there, and it was a lot of fun. And so that's just another thing that I think Social Media Tulsa has become. We have a community of people who are doing social as their profession. They're consulting, they're managing food truck accounts, they're managing restaurant social media accounts. And so, and they're gaining knowledge, but at some point we all have to come together uh, and strategize and see what's new and how people are using these new tools. So I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, actually my cousin, was talking to me last night on the phone, and she asked a question. She says, hey, what do have you tried Periscope? And I told her that I had, and some of the places that I thought Periscope would be valuable. And she's like, I haven't even really tried it. And then I mentioned to her that she might like Blab. And she's like, oh my goodness, there's so much stuff out there. Can we just stop with Facebook and Instagram? And she didn't quite care for Twitter, but again, Twitter is, if you're doing an event or a live event, I would say Twitter is still very valuable. And the Twitter chat is still a great way to build your community and get people on board with whatever you're doing for your brand. Using Twitter for customer service is also a really wonderful thing. So we were just talking about in a really short conversation, 2 new pieces of social and digital marketing tools and or strategy that she had not tried, and I had just begun to try Blab. So these are things that I think we all need to start to think about, is that, yeah, you may be in the profession, you may be doing social, you may understand Facebook inside and out, but when it comes to, hey, this is how we've utilized Facebook, or here's how we're using Periscope and Meerkat and Blab from a brand perspective, and here are some of the campaigns that we use for Pinterest or on Pinterest that helped us sell out over the holidays. Those are the kinds of things that I think even as professionals, we need to be able to expose ourselves to on an annual basis, and really more so, but for timing's sake, at least once a year as professionals, for our own professional development. And just knowing what's out there and how it can be used. That's not to say that everybody has to be on every platform. And I'm the first person to say that doesn't need to be the case, even though it seems like I am. But you can play with the tools and see what works for you. And then when you hear somebody or see examples from the speakers and presenters from conferences like SMTULSA, you start to get ideas on how you can take those things back to your workplace and put them into practice. So that's one of the reasons why we keep doing this conference, and we will keep doing the conference as long as you guys are interested in attending. So I tell somebody that I started this, and the theory around SMTULSA conference is that I want you to feel like you're in my living room, kind of how you are now, even though I've got this big banner up hiding the big mess behind me, and at least one dog. But I want you to feel like you're in my living room learning from the smartest people I know, right? So some of my friends, some that I've just met, or some that I have been following online for a long time, some that other people in the social media Tulsa community have recommended and suggested and said, hey, they would be great to come to the living room and share stories with the community. So I'm really happy that we have stayed in that real community and working together and learning from each other standpoint. And it just happens to, when you're new to SMTULSA conference, you, at least I hope that you feel a welcome part of our family, and you feel like a guest, and you feel as if you can both teach something to somebody sitting next to you or even on the stage, and that you can learn something from the person on the stage or somebody sitting next to you. And I think that is a uniqueness for our conference that it's really hard to describe, because I don't want to sound like, hey, by design, it's the greatest conference ever, but it really is the conference that I would want to attend. It's the one that and I'm kind of a conference geek. I love going to different events and conferences around the world, and the ones that I feel most confident in and comfortable with are from them. Then I try to bring those pieces into what you see at SMTULSA, and mostly it's something really unique, and it's only kind of a piece of maybe some of the mega conferences that I've seen around, and so that you feel comfortable with learning. And it's no accident that people meet a lot of people for the first time and chat and have a great time, because that's the atmosphere that I personally want to set, and that I'm really glad to see the community of really smart people support. So we had actually Eric T-Tong, I think, is going to be an official Tulsan here really soon. He's joined us for SMTULSA conference. He came in and helped us out with Center of the Universe Festival. And I see that he'll be at Tulsa Talks in October. So he may be sick of Tulsa by the time we get to March of 2016. But what happens is, I think we have created such a welcoming environment for people to come to Tulsa and share with our community, and so then they meet people who are doing other things here and want to get involved. So I can only be a proud facilitator of that, and welcome that for anybody who may want to come to Tulsa and join our community. So with that, here is your official invitation to submit your speaker proposal for our conference for 2016. And many topics are open. We did a survey, and analytics and measurement and tracking was #1 on the list of things people really wanted to learn about and workshops. So we definitely want people who can talk about dashboards and analytics and really how to hone in on the tools that are available, the Google Analytics, all of the Twitter and Facebook dashboards, and the various companies that are now popping up, allowing us to measure how our activities on social are doing. So if that's you, please submit. Go over to smtulsa.com and you'll see call for speaker at top, or /call for speakers. So that was one of the topics, analytics tracking. The other topic that was really interested was kind of ways around Facebook's algorithm, right? So we all know that organic reach has fallen off the deep end for most of us, unless you want to, only post food porn and, fart jokes, basically. If you want to post, really nonsensical quotes every single day, yeah, you'll get a little bit of engagement, but you probably aren't on your brand message if you're doing that exclusively to get people to like and share things from your Facebook page. But and that's a strategy. I'm not downing it, because it works, right? People like to see silly things and on Facebook, and they like to share those things. So, but beyond that, there are some ways to get around the algorithm that you can be social with your community in a way that a lot of people aren't aware of. And so we covered some of that in our social media day event with the Center of the Universe musicians. And so hopefully we'll do that again. And so that's another topic, kind of secrets and tips around the algorithms of Facebook and probably Twitter as well. I know one of the things that has just popped up is advertising for Instagram. So I would say if you're playing with that, or if you were one of the early beta testers in the advertising program, that we'd love to hear from you and how you have had some success with that. If you've had success with Pinterest campaigns, we'd love to hear from you. And then any type of, how your blog is still helping you, website secrets, anything that will kind of tips and tricks of the trade that will help our attendees just rock social for themselves. So please visit our call for speakers. So last thing I'm going to talk about, and I know I've rambled on a little bit, is discount code. So early registration is now. We just ended our pre-registration, but early registration is $300. But because you're watching this, I'm going to give you a little secret code, and so all you have to do is use the code. Let's see, what shall it be? Because I haven't even set it up. So let's see. Let's say it's YouTube. How about that? So the promo code will be YouTube. And so if you go to smtulsa.com, you'll scroll down just a little bit and you'll see the events where you can register and use the promo code YouTube, and you'll get $50 off of registration. So that technically gives you the same price as the pre-sale, but for the early bird. And if you don't get in before early bird, then you'll still get 50% off, $50 off, but you'll get the $50 off of regular registration, which is $375, right? So it really does behoove you to get in now and use the code. In fact, I'm going to set it up while we're talking, just in case some of you are just dying to get your seat. And we will close off registration at 200 people, which is not our capacity this year. We actually are in a little larger space at the ALOF, but I like a more manageable conference, and I like the closeness of our community. And I hope one day we will grow beyond that, but for now, I think 200 is a good. Okay, so there's that. And let's say we'll limit it to 25 users. So 25 people can use that code, and we'll make it expire on, we'll make it expire December 31st. So you'll have a little bit of time. I'm not going to do the whole act now, but you should act now because there's only 25 of them. All right, so the promo code YouTube, and it's all lowercase. I don't know that it matters on Eventbrite, but it's all lowercase. YouTube will save you $50 off registration today. So thank you guys for listening. I promise I'll do more of the social media today episodes so that I'm not talking as long with all the good news. But if you have questions, anything about social media, any events that we're doing as Social Media Tulsa, or if you'd like to hire us to do your event, just message me at Cheryl at SMTULSA.com, or you can comment here below on the video or on Google+. Thanks so much, you guys, and I'll see you when I get back from vacation.